We hope you brought the aloe and sunscreen.
Bullshit.
Because these takes are scorching hot. Now, get ready for some raw,
You want it raw?
gritty, and unfiltered takes from the old man, Don himself.
She can't say the truth because it does make her look like an idiot. Because that's what she is.
These are Pop's Takes, right here on BB Nation Radio.
Bullshit.
Oh, yeah, we are back once again, everybody, with another edition of Pop's Takes. As always, I am J-Dub, and joined with me is the old man, Don himself, good old Pops, the old breed Marine. Anyhow, before we get dive right into things, first off, I want to remind you guys, be sure to head over and check out our website of backwoodsvets.com, where you can catch up on everything that's going on within BV Nation, and be sure to check out the latest raffle that we have going on over there. As currently we are raffling off a Vortex Impact 850 rangefinder donated by our friends over there at Vortex Optics, helping benefit our friends from the fallen outdoors. Tickets are $20 a piece, or excuse me, $10 a piece, and it's a $200 value. And the drawing will be held live on BB Nation Radio at 6 p.m. Pacific on June 27th. So be sure to tune in for that one if you go ahead and buy your tickets. Again, tickets exclusively over at our website of backwoodsvets.com. Now, with all the formalities out of the way, old man, what is going on? How you doing? How you been? It's been a couple weeks.
Yeah. But first off, before you get into, did you have a certain amount, a limited amount of tickets that you're selling, or
No. There's no limit on the number of tickets that we are
you
selling.
have a timeline, a deadline?
Yes. The drawing is Sunday, June 27th.
Okay, everybody, you got that? So get your tickets right away.
By God. So don't waste any time. Go get them.
Yeah, we've kind of been off schedule a little bit here due to some extenuating circumstances.
Yeah, you can call it that.
Anyhow, we're back for tonight, but hopefully next week we'll be on regular schedule again.
Right.
It makes it a little nicer for everybody to know when I'm going to be here.
Usually we do it Mondays at 6, but this week just has some stuff come up, and I don't think either of us are really feeling the vibe for doing a show here on Monday afternoon.
Yeah. Well, I'm frustrated with what's going on.
You think?
I'll tell you.
What's up?
I just heard a while ago that there's a school, I think it was in New York City, it's a private school, that their whole curriculum is to teach kids about racism, and that the world is racist.
The world? Oh, my God.
What? I mean, they had a whistleblower teacher or something like that I just heard a little bit about it. I just caught the tail end of it. And it's really sad that people don't seem to understand that racism is there's individuals
right
that are racist. No kidding.
Yeah. No, I'll agree with that. Yeah.
And I don't know why they are that way, but there's the same token. It's not a country that's racist, which you're trying to tell everybody it is.
No, it's the individuals.
Exactly. It's just individuals that, and so now there's just a lot of people trying to push and keep racism in the view here,
in the spotlight.
In the foreground, so that they're so worried about that they can't see what else is going on.
Right. And you know what's funny was we talk about that, and I honestly think that Morgan Freeman actually nailed it in an interview that he did on 60 Minutes here a while back, here a couple of years ago. You know, he's just like, well, why do I have to be a black man? Why can't I just be a man? When they start asking him about Black History Month, he's just like, well, why do I have to have my history narrowed down to just 1 month? It's my history. He looks at the interviewer. He goes, well, do you have a White History Month? Well, the reporter responds, well, I'm Jewish. Okay, well, do you have a Jewish History Month? Well, no. Well, do you want one? Well, no. Well, neither do I. I don't want a Black History Month. Why does that have to be just 1 month? He's like, why do we have to address each other by a religious or a race? Why can't we just be a man? Why can't we just be a person?
Well,
and that's the biggest thing about it, is that racism isn't, at least from what I learned growing up and from the things that you taught me and life in general has taught me, racism is a learned trait. It's not something that's inherited. And that's the thing that a lot of people seem to forget.
Well, you know why they're pushing it, don't you?
Because it's furthering their agenda.
Well, their agenda is that they want to get everything for nothing, and nobody wants to work for it. The old adage of you get what you earn. They don't want you to have what you earned. They want everybody else to get what you earn.
Right.
And
last I checked, that was called socialism.
It's worse than socialism.
Is it terrorism?
That's basically what I would call it. I mean, it's just laziness is what it is.
Right.
People want something for nothing, and I don't know where it got lost in, but I mean, I worked all my life, and I figured I earned what I got.
Absolutely.
Every bit of it.
You should.
And I expect others, if they earn it, I expect them to get it.
Mm-hmm.
If they don't earn it, then I'm not going to give it to them.
Well, you shouldn't have to give anybody any, and that's the biggest misconception in this world, is that a lot of people think that the world owes them something. The world doesn't owe anybody a damn thing. It doesn't. If you want something, get off your ass and go earn it.
Yeah.
That's what you've always taught me.
Right. Well, also, I always said, I think I told you too years ago, that
starting to sound like
charity.
Like the Mel Gibson in the movie Maverick. Well, my pappy used to say.
Well, yeah, my pappy did too.
Right.
But charity begins in the church.
Okay.
That's where your charity should be.
Yeah, I get behind that.
Your government doesn't do charity.
No.
But they want to. They want charity for themselves and not for anybody else. Is what they want.
Yeah,
but
I could agree with that one.
Anyhow, it's just I'm so tired of all this big uproar and this everything every time something happens.
Right. So speaking of race card and everything else, so in a way, I'm kind of glad that we decided to wait a couple days to do the show.
Yeah.
Is first off, yesterday they finally reached, which surprised me, they actually reached a verdict in the Derek Chauvin case, the former Minneapolis police officer with the whole George Floyd murder case.
Well,
guilty on all charges is what the verdict was. Do you buy it or do you not buy it?
Do I buy it that he's guilty?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. And the jury, I feel like the jury just didn't, I don't know. They were afraid to not make a guilty verdict, because if they call him not guilty on anything, of course their lives and their families' lives and their homes and everything else would be in danger.
Yeah, that's a valid point. That is a valid point. Now, which brings me to my next question. Do you believe that the judge should have had the jury sequestered? Do you believe that they should have?
I don't think it would have made any difference.
Really? You don't think so?
No, I don't think it would have made any difference, because beforehand, and these jurors, they know what these BLM people are, not BLM, but Antifa, the whole bunch of them, okay?
Right.
All of them, what they've been saying, what they would do, and everything else. And they know how dangerous it is out there for people to stand up for what they really is true.
Right.
So it's just almost impossible. I mean, it's like I was telling you a while ago, I think, in that you talked about the jury.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder what they're going to do. This talk show host on the radio was talking a while ago. I think I'd mentioned to you about this police officer shot this girl.
The 16-year-old gal that got shot in Columbus, Ohio.
Right. Her arm and hand were on their way with the knife.
Oh, yeah.
To stab another person, another young girl.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I understand it was two of them, two young girls.
It was the one in the
Just the
police
one.
in the video. It was only
Okay.
the one that we saw.
Okay, I just heard two, but I'm glad you clarified that for me because I wasn't quite positive, but I know there was one. And somebody had called in and said, "Well, why did he have to shoot her?" Well, let's face it. The police officer is standing 50 feet away. This young gal, is getting ready to kill somebody. She's not just threatening the knife. She's already done.
She's in the motion of right,
trying to kill somebody.
Right.
And he's too far away for any other action. He can't reach her with anything else. So he has no alternative but to protect the citizen that's being attacked. He has no alternative but to pull his weapon and discharge it at the person and stop him.
Correct, because deadly intent was obviously being displayed, so he met it with what he felt was the appropriate level of force in that situation.
I wonder what they're going to say now. They're already, people are already.
Oh, there's already an outcry for it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's already through the roof as far as for the outcry in regards to all this. I mean, me personally, I think, if he was closer, it probably would have been the smart thing. Hindsight's always 20/20. We can sit back and armchair quarterback this thing till we're blue in the face.
Right.
I understand using the least amount of force necessary to eliminate the threat. I understand if he would have been closer, going for the taser instead. Yes, I understand that. But given those circumstances between the distance from himself to the female that was committing the act, that was in motion. I mean, you look at the body cam footage and you see the gal with the knife in her hand going for the swing for the attack. And I'm sorry, but he made the right call.
But he had no choice.
Yeah, he absolutely had no choice.
One of them young gals was going to die, either the one that was being attacked or the one that was doing the attacking.
And, as sad as it is to say, I mean, a 16-year-old girl lost her life. She's not going to have a life to live anymore, to, grow up, have a family or anything else like that.
It's a shame.
It truly is a shame.
But
but that was on her.
Okay. Now,
and the mother sitting back
was not on her particularly. You know where she got all this? By what's going on by these adults everywhere around the world or around the country.
And being allowed to think that, yes, this is okay.
Yes.
I get that. But this is where it all boils down to personal accountability. You do the act, you take responsibility. Once you hit a certain age, I'm sorry. I'm a firm believer that once you hit the age of 15, guess what? You want to act like an adult and commit crimes like an adult, you should be tried as an adult. I give two shits if you're a minor or not, because you have the mental culpability to be able to make a conscious decision. You're old enough by that point in time to determine right or wrong in that sense. As far as whether or not that you're going to try and take another life, you may not be able to understand the ramifications as far as just how much deep shit you're going to get into, because when you're that age, you think you're freaking 10 feet tall and bulletproof anyhow. I don't care who you are. I did it. Every single one of our listeners has done it. I know you have done it. You don't even have to tell me any past experiences just because I know you're my dad. But seriously, if you can make that conscious decision, whether in the heat of the moment or not, you got what's coming to you. Because if you have any idea of right or wrong, that's done. Freaking, you've made your choice. You're going to have to deal with the consequences one way or the other. And Carl, I agree with you. He says, oh man, if you listen to what her family says afterwards, the mother getting on TV after it was said and done, trying to talk her, trying to church her baby girl up, just blew my mind. It was like, she was a peace-loving girl and this, that, and the other. She didn't have a mean bone in her body. Really? Then why was she going after another female that was half her size, cornered up against a car,
well, why did she
was
have a
in
knife
the process
to
of trying to stab her?
Huh? Why did she have a knife worth able to stab with anyhow?
And here's the other thing about her mom is the one that called 911 for the police to come. Really? Explain this to me. Do you have a logical thought process as to why she would say things like that on camera after, oh, wait, that's right. She's trying to help. She's trying to use that as a freaking tool. Watch out, everybody. Here comes more riots. If you live in a big city, stay frosty, guys.
Yeah, it's going to happen. And
just saying.
But that's what I'm saying. Every little thing that happens that where anybody should be held accountable is not being held accountable because and the rest of these protesters and all that are so busy trying to destroy our country and everything that they use every little thing that comes up.
Absolutely. Richie, you nailed it on the head. He goes, how much of this is parenting, how much is upbringing, and how much is self-control? That just proves my point right there.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was thinking about while you were talking a while ago about, well, where were the parents before? Where were they at when this child was 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, 9 years old? Where were they at? Were they there?
That's a good question. I don't know, because
were they living a correct life where the kid would learn to break the law?
One would think. One really would think. So anyhow, now that we've gotten off topic and moved on to that, but going back to the Chauvin case.
Yeah.
I know this is a horse that all the talking heads have beat senseless, but in all honesty, and you and I actually had a conversation about this a while back, and like I asked, so again, verdict, buy or sell. Guilty verdict on all charges, buy or sell.
No.
You're selling? You're selling it? You're not buying it?
I'm not buying it. They're guilty. He's guilty of all that stuff. Not from what I saw in the videos and everything else. I know how people, you have to, I've been in combat, so have you.
Yeah.
And when things go a certain way or when certain things happen
right
prior to this, and with all of the rioting and all the stuff going on against the officer, because they've been playing up the fact that the police are bad and all this kind of stuff,
right?
And he's panicked. I think he had some panic in him because of the fact that all the threatening deals have been made against the police anytime they tried to do anything like that.
Okay.
And the guy, come on, people, let's face it. The guy's a criminal. He's got a history of being
okay. I understand that, but we also have to stay objective to this, though.
Yeah.
I understand that, yes, this guy has a long rap sheet. And I'm sorry, but for a guy that's trying to get his quote unquote life straightened out, he's not going to sit there and he's not going to be in the process of wheeling and dealing and trying to pass phony bills and everything else and get himself caught.
Exactly.
In the meantime, and then turn around when the cops go to interact with him, winds up ingesting the drugs they had on him. So they proved in the toxicology report, the guy had 3 times the lethal dose of fentanyl in his system.
Well,
the guy had a heart attack, and that was ultimately what killed him. That was as ruled by the medical examiner in the testimony during the trial. Now, do I believe that Chauvin exacerbated it? Absolutely. Do I agree with having him pinned down as long as he was? No, not so much. They should have friggin' zip cuffed his friggin' ankles like they know to do or can do.
Exactly.
And then render aid like they're supposed to as a first responder. So do I believe that the way they handled the situation was correct? No, absolutely not. But I do not believe that he was the reason why George Floyd died.
I don't either, but I guess that's
and the only verdict that I honestly would have bought, and the only reason I say this, the only reason was excessive force, but I don't think it was all that killed him. No, there was numerous factors that went into it.
Well, what was going on around him when he was doing this? What else was going on at the same time?
What do you mean?
Was there any other problems going on with the people around or anything like that?
No, because everybody had their damn phones out. Everyone was like, "Oh, police brutality! We got to video this." Yeah. Instead of actually trying to say something to help the guy. And the other 3 cops that were with him didn't do squat either. So, I mean, they should have, at a minimum, some sort of civil liability for it. At least facing a wrongful death suit.
Yeah. Well, I'm not saying that he did everything right there. I mean, the way the guilty verdicts he got, I disagree with. I think he's guilty, but I don't. I'd say it's more of a
more that the jury was intimidated.
Yeah, and
by mob rule versus
instead of involuntary manslaughter or something like that, which
was one of the charges. It was one of the 3 counts.
That was enough.
But you don't think he should have been brought up on murder 2 or murder 3?
No.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I feel there's too many extenuating circumstances in the whole thing. Now they want to, I'm sorry, they just want to convict every police officer they can convict of everything.
Right.
And they want the criminals to get away with slap on the hand if they even slap them on the hand.
Right. I'll be honest with you. The only verdict that I would have 110% bought off on was a not guilty verdict. And it's not so much as for the fact that whether I believe that he, was why Derek Chauvin was the reason that George Floyd died or not. The only reason why I would have bought off on a not guilty verdict was because of the two simple things. One, the prosecution did not present their case beyond reasonable doubt. And that's the big thing. When you go to trial, people, pay attention here. If you've never been through a courtroom or have no idea how the criminal justice system works, I'm going to tell you all this little tidbit that I learned when I went to school for it. 90% of the trial is theatrics. If the prosecution can prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt, meaning they have everything in line to be able to convince you that this guy absolutely positively did it. There is no ands, ifs, or buts about it. This guy did it. And they have everything before you. Then, yes, you go with the guilty plea. However, all the defense has to do is just drop that little bitty tic-tac of like, well, maybe, possibly. I mean, he could have, but he didn't have. Yep, but guess what? That right there is a textbook definition of reasonable doubt. Therefore, that is not enough grounds to convict him. So if the prosecution, A, didn't present their case in a way that, brought out or that eliminated any reasonable doubt, and 2, they would have been able to make that decision in spite of all the outside mob rule, everybody losing their shit or anything else in regards to what the outside world was saying.
Well,
because you have to remember the way our actual legal system is set up, the way our Constitution is set up when it comes to criminal law, substantive law, constitutional law in this country, in our legal system, you are innocent until proven guilty, not the other way around. And that's the one thing. Society, this day and age, now has it to where you are guilty until proven innocent, not the other way around like it's supposed to be.
Well, let me ask you this. I didn't really follow day by day and minute by minute on this trial thing.
That's fine.
But I have a question. And one of the questions I would have had as a juror.
Okay.
Because, I've been on an important trial.
Yeah.
And the question is this. Did he have foregone knowledge of what this guy was high on and how high he was and what the effects of it could have been with this person.
That's a good question.
If he did not, it is not murder.
Yeah.
It's involuntary manslaughter.
Yeah.
Period.
I would buy that. I would buy off on that.
That's exactly what I'm trying.
As a defense attorney, that should have been a question. I was.
Murder is a foregone conclusion or a foregone.
It's premeditated.
Right. Exactly. And the type of murders that they're blaming him on, that's what I'm saying is.
By textbook, murder is premeditated. You actively sought out that individual, and you knowingly, maliciously took their life. That is the textbook definition of murder. Manslaughter is unlawful taking of the life of another individual, but without malice. And that's literally the textbook definition of those two. One is with, one is without.
See, that was my big question there. That's what.
If the malice or the ill intent was there.
Yeah, I don't know if there was ill intent or, I don't know what happened beforehand, whether he had foregone knowledge of all this. He knows that the guy was fighting with him and everything. And once or twice, I guess, or from what I understand, is that the guy, George, fought back on him or was fighting him to get away because he, I don't know, just wanted to get away or something. I don't know. I was not there. I don't know beforehand or afterwards. I know what happened on the video, but what happened, videos could be, I've seen videos where they only show one part of it. And if you'd have seen what happened before the video or after the video, well, then, it gives you a better idea of what's going on.
Right.
So anyhow, that was one of my questions. That was been my question as a juror. If he had a
that's a very, very good one, because that would have made or broken the case, basically, if you think about it, for the defense or the prosecution.
Exactly.
Because if the intent is there, or if having that knowledge would have, I would have shown it all right there.
Well, maybe the laws are you went to studied all that stuff way after I was involved in any of that.
Right.
But it's been quite a few years since I was on a jury for murder, murder person or a group of people.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of those things like that we were told to weigh and look at, and which we did. So that's what I never heard any mention of any of that about during the trial, or what I heard of the reviews of the trial or anything like that.
Now here's another question for you. I know we talk about with sequestering the jury and things like that. Do you believe that there is ground with them not sequestering the jury, the judge not doing that? Do you believe that is now set the grounds for a mistrial at this point in time?
It's possible. Depends on what his attorneys can come out with and prove that how it was affected. If they can approve, or if his attorneys can prove somehow that it affected them not being sequestered, they can prove that
it had an effect on the jury. Yeah,
on their verdict. Then yes, they could have a retrial.
And hopefully somewhere outside of the Minneapolis area.
Well,
more likely it have to be, somewhere outside. I mean, honestly, because he's facing federal charges, it looks like he might have to go before a district court.
Yeah, it could be.
It might honestly have to, because it have to go out of state because of how high profile that this case is.
The thing is, it's so high profile that it don't matter what state you go to, they're all there. They're all. You got if they brought it here to Portland.
Oh God, there's no way in hell they do that. There's no way.
New York.
It's gonna be interesting to see what happens. It really is, especially now because of how high profile it is. it's going to be very, very hard to find an impartial jury. It really is.
Well,
because there's going to be so many factors. If they do wind up deeming this a mistrial, and then they wind up going ahead and retrying the case, there is going to be so much scrutiny on who they select for a jury. It seriously is, and it's gonna be crazy to see what happens.
But it's going to be really educational, shall we say?
Yeah,
as to what happens.
It really is. So it's going to be crazy to watch what takes place. I mean, they have, what is it? From yesterday, they have 8 weeks from yesterday when sentencing is.
Yeah.
So in order for that to get put off or anything else like that, there's going to be I'm telling you, it's going to be a legal circus, as far as between the appeals and everything else to see what happens in the meantime. Watch, and my computer is going on the fritz for some reason.
Above went out too.
Yeah, that was weird. Anyhow, all right. Well, Pops, you got anything you want to send everyone out with?
No, just please, folks, stop this destruction of property and this destruction of people. The Constitution says that everybody has the right to pursue happiness. It doesn't say that you can be given or you're supposed to be given happiness. It says you can pursue it for your own.
Yep.
So don't expect everybody else to do it for you. Stand up and do it for yourself, and then you'll find your happiness and all that from your own pursuit. That's the one thing I wanted to comment I was going to make.
All righty. All right, everybody. Well, that does it for us here on this edition of Pop's Takes. We'll be back this coming Monday again for another edition. So be sure to tune in Monday at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern for another edition of Pop's Takes. In the meantime, like I said, like the ticker says down below, be sure to head over and check out our website of backwoodsvets.com for everything that's going on, and go buy your raffle tickets, helping our friends over at the Fallen Outdoors. So in the meantime, guys, do appreciate the time. We will talk to y'all later, and I will talk to you guys on Friday night over on the Spreaker app for Rockabilly Radio with Alex and whoever else decides to jump in on the show. So have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you all later.
Bye. Take care of yourselves, guys. We'll see you next Monday.
Absolutely.